What's up, guys? It's your boy Milkman. I kind of just wanted to say hi and give you guys kind of the rundown of what this video is about. It's just kind of the understanding of what you can and can't control in life. Something that is kind of different for a lot of us now, especially. I know a lot of my viewers are kind of my age, maybe a little bit younger than me, but obviously we all just went through the pandemic and are still kind of in the pandemic, not really like it was before, but we, kind of got used to this kind of cycle of things. I think like we were all had our own lives and stuff like that, but we never really like had this big of a change. I think like we never had something like this happen. Obviously, I mean, I don't know if something like this has happened in a long time. So it's one of those things where we weren't really prepared for it at all, and it kind of happened. And I made these videos where I was talking about stuff, and then kind of got back into the rhythm of school and stopped making them, sadly. But now we're back doing these, and this one's just kind of around that idea of not understanding that you don't have the ability to control a lot of stuff. I know growing up for me, it was a lot of like injuries and sickness. I went through chemo. I had cancer for 4 years. Had hope of what seemed like a bright future in football, and then had my ACL and everything else in my knees kind of just blown out. Different stuff with school. I thought I was in the right major. I wasn't. I changed. Now I'm a year behind. I'm still gonna graduate though, so it doesn't really matter. But just stuff like that. Me going on the Antarctica study abroad, which if you guys haven't already, I have a GoFundMe set up to help me out with that. If you guys get the chance to help me out, that'd be lit. It's pretty expensive, and I have to pay for school fully now because my scholarship ran out. So now I don't have any money. I don't get any merit scholarships because of my background and stuff. I don't have anything like that. I don't have a job right now. I have been applying to a lot of stuff. So if you guys get the chance, I'll put this at the beginning of the video instead. But if you guys get the chance to help me out, I appreciate it. Always helpful to me. I'd love to get to go. I mean, I'll get to go anyways. It just depends on how much money I'm gonna have to take out on another loan. But besides the point, understanding the inability we have to control things. This summer we were supposed to go on a cruise that was canceled a couple years ago from COVID and stuff like that, and ended up planning it this summer. And then I had school planned, and I had to switch up how school was going to work because I couldn't go to school because it was 4 times a week, and then the cruise was right in the middle of like right when school started, so for summer school. And then we switched that, so then I switched that. I'm in a different class now, and then my little brother ended up getting COVID a couple days before we were supposed to leave, and we had to cancel the trip, but we just moved it. But just the idea of we can't kind of control those things, I kind of wanted to emphasize that and just like kind of explain to you guys how it's not something that is bad in a sense. Life isn't really fair in a way, but at the same time, those things that we can't. One second, Chris, just squeaking toys. Like I was saying, it's one of those things where not being able to control things isn't necessarily the worst thing, and this idea that we do and don't know what's best is kind of invalid in a way. Something that I kind of just like gathered over the little past probably year was just this idea of like we think we know what's best. So when it comes to like our trip and stuff that we had planned, you would normally say, oh, well, it's probably best. The best case scenario is we go on the trip and stuff like that. And the worst case is it gets canceled or whatever it is. And something that has kind of changed in my head is not really thinking that way or trying to think that way. A lot of life is kind of like random, and you have no idea what's going to happen. And if we think we know what's best and what's not, then when something does go awry, then we are upset about it. Same thing with school for me. If you looked at schooling and college and stuff, you would think, oh, it's best if you go to a 4-year school and get it done in 4 years or whatever it is, which grand scheme, that is probably best case scenario to me at least. But understanding that maybe I needed that extra year of schooling to do something in that year. I'm going into that extra year of schooling now, and I have no idea what's going to happen, and maybe something happens in this year that is, astronomical, that would not have happened had I completed school in 4 years. And kind of just that idea that we really don't know what's best. We may have an idea of what we think is best, but we really just don't even know, because we have no idea how life plays out or what's going to happen or anything like that. What's best could be something vastly different than what you think is going to happen too. I know me and a couple of viewers have had just like relationship stuff in the past that at the time you would have said, oh, that's what's best. And then you look to the present and I'm in a completely different relationship now that I would tell you is 100 times better than any relationship I was ever in before, whether it was like friends, best friends, dating, whatever it was. Like, but I would have never told you that that was going to happen, because I wouldn't have thought what was best was breaking up with exes or losing friends and stuff like that. But since time has passed, obviously, I now know that it worked out the way it was supposed to. I also think that one of the things that is important is knowing that we don't know what's best. And not knowing is what is important, because you don't really know what's going to happen. Really, whether you're religious or not, one of the main things that people talk about in life is just the randomness of it. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know when you're going to die, if you're going to die, if what's going to happen, if you're going to have a super fun time, if you're going to meet somebody, all that stuff. Like, nobody knows any of that. And that's kind of what is important to understand, is there is very little that really is in your control. And there is, like, obviously stuff that is in your control, and you have to, be specific, be poignant, be whatever verb you want to implement. You have to be involved in certain things and understand that you can't just kind of like let life pass by you. You do have to, try, and you have to do well, and you have to get better, and, fail and win and lose and all that stuff. Like, you have to do all that stuff in order to, in my opinion, live a full life, and understand that it is important to work on things and stuff like that. But also understanding that there really just isn't a lot that's in your control is, something good to kind of understanding that not knowing is important, because, or that sounds bad. Understanding that not knowing the future is important. There's really not a lot you can predict when it comes to large scale things. Even when you look at sports, or you look at, world events, I would have told you that nobody really thought there would be a war between Ukraine and Russia right after the pandemic occurred. And nobody would have thought the Suns were going to get swept or were going to lose in Game 7 against the Mavs by 50. There's just, from the big to the small, there's really just a lot you can't predict, and understanding that you don't know is important, because that's what makes, life interesting and makes it, valuable. The randomness that occurs in your life is what gives it kind of like that extra little spice, which is, important. And understanding that where you came from is what's important as well. You can't kind of forget what you were doing and think that because you're moving forward that you know exactly what's going to happen. It's another reason why things like being specific with work is important, because that it's important to you and to your employer and to everyone like that. But grand scheme, in the future, you probably won't work there anymore. It doesn't apply or matter that much, but it may not be what's part of your life in the future. And understanding that all that stuff is just kind of maybe temporary, or maybe even just irrelevant, is important. Understanding that, doing good deeds out of the kindness of your heart isn't something you should be expecting a benefit from. We live in a world that's pretty much ran by negativity and hate and dislikes and all of those adjectives and adverbs of words. We live in a world that really just doesn't want to, see us succeed as a group of people. Those who are higher up got there for a reason, I would say, a lot of the time, you know, not even just like the rich of the rich, like not the super rich people, but people who were doctors, people who were lawyers, those people who are, you know, high up, people who kind of did really well going on and into life, and were well off after. You know, there's a lot of them that do want to see us as like regular people succeed. Whether you think I'm important or not, you know, I still want to see you succeed. I want to see people succeed in life. I want people to see my videos and, you know, think that I may have helped them in some way. I've struggled a lot the past year with YouTube and Twitch and just kind of trying to stay committed to it. But I know that there's people out there who, you know, do need a voice, need a tiny YouTuber who's gonna bring something that they probably don't see in other YouTubers or Twitch streamers and stuff like that. But yeah, there's like understanding that the future is not what you think it is most of the time. It's usually vastly different. And if it's not, that's great too. It doesn't have to be different. If you know exactly what's going to happen in the future for you, whether it's like school, work, family, whatever it is, that's great. But also understanding that if it doesn't play out the way you think isn't the worst thing either. You know, you might switch a career and not be something that at 18 you thought was going to be what you were doing, but at 22 yeah, this is what I do now. And you know, that's not bad. It's just you. It's just you as a person, and understanding that that's okay is good, and understanding that in 4 more years when you're 26 is maybe something completely different than what you think it's going to be. So, you know, just understanding that not knowing the future and not knowing what is best is a better way to live, because if you assume what's best and what's worse, you'll always be upset if it doesn't play out the way you want. Whereas if you kind of understand that life is just the way it is, when the good things come, and you're happy, and when the bad things come, you know, you didn't really expect more. You don't worry about if it's bad, because you're well equipped as a human to deal with it. You know, we work out to be strong and be able to, you know, help in different ways that our strengths use. We go to school and learn things so that we can, you know, just try and be more intelligent and be able to answer more questions when we're older. You know, it's just part of, you have a right to be upset when something doesn't go the way you think it should, but it doesn't mean that you couldn't look on the bright side of it and understand that maybe it was for the best and maybe it leads to something else. Kind of in a wrap up, I guess, just understand that you guys have a lot of power in your lives. You know, you have the ability to do a lot, whether someone tells you do or don't. You have the ability to make different waves and different forms of life, art, money, I don't know, school, strength, whatever it is. You guys have the ability to pretty much do whatever you want. Obviously, I would hope you use it for good, not for bad, but you have the ability to do whatever you want and be able to, you know, change the lives of people near you, even if it's just with the simple, you know, you try and be a little bit more forgiving, or you want to try and be a little bit more whatever. I mean, you can really do whatever. I would just hope that you do it out of the goodness of your heart, and that you try and be a good person, because that's kind of what the world needs right now, is people who are attempting to be good people. I appreciate you guys stopping by. Thank you for listening to me. I still enjoy these videos a lot, so hopefully you guys have a good one, and you guys can, you know, go on to your lives and do what you guys want, be happy, do what you guys want, be excited, be ready, be motivated. I'm excited to get more into more topics with you guys. If you guys have anything you guys want me to talk about, throw it in the comments. Obviously, I always appreciate it when you guys throw stuff in the comments. I find it entertaining to read comments. Share me out to people you think would need to hear this. People who you think are kind of in a tough spot right now with life, and kind of down because they think it hasn't played out the way that they wanted it to. But yeah, thank you guys for stopping by. Spread the love, spread joy, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Always doing dirt, 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 dirt. Why don't put your first, 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 first? Yeah, I get the worst, 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 worst. Baby, we got so much tension, cause you don't pay attention. You say I'm always tripping, always got me in my feelings. Bam, confused, something ain't right with this view. Tell me what happened to you, thought it was cool. Showing a new side of you, can't lie, I don't really approve. You was my Valentine, now you out of line. Gave you 3 strikes, now you out of time. Know I hate fights, but the late nights make the good days feel like a